Using the noticing approach and guided discovery to teach communicative language using English Please and Way to Go. A lot of teachers and students think teaching and learning grammar is a difficult thing to do, but here I'm going to propose a few tips to teach grammar in a communicative way using the noticing approach and the guided discovery. Noticing grammar, or the process of noticing, has many connotations. Schmidt and Froda refer to noticing as conscious awareness of the target language, which require the attendance and awareness of the learners to the input. In other words, the learner needs to be aware of the input and attend to it to be able to process it, which means that input becomes intake. There are many ways in which a teacher can help students to work communicatively. 70% of communication is known to be nonverbal. It's no surprise that much information is missed when engaged within a conversation. Hence, it's not difficult to do it. Here are 3 things to take into account when using the noticing approach. The 3 things you must have your students notice are meaning, use, and form. You can help your students to identify meaning in grammar without too much detail or theory. Just let them know the simplest way, the intention or setting you want them to look at. Talking about use, you can help your students notice use of grammar by modeling what you want them to notice. Show them many models that set them to come up with a pattern. Form in grammar is very easy to identify. You can help the students just by asking them to infer, to revise, to correct, or to identify the grammar pattern you want them to learn. Concept questions can be a useful tool for this. There are many advantages of using the noticing approach to grammar teaching or learning. In here, I'm going to mention only 3. First one is that guided discovery and noticing approach are more student-centered, inductive approaches to develop pleasing grammar knowledge. That means your student will feel more comfortable when learning grammar. The second advantage is that guided discovery and noticing approach allow students to learn in their own context frame, which means they can have a real set for knowledge. Finally, in this approach, an integration of language skills is likely to happen because the student is not only studying grammar, but is studying the context itself. When using the noticing approach, you have to take into account 3 things. First, avoid discussing grammar aspects with no context. Your students need to experience grammar in a meaningful context so that they can understand how and when grammar is used. You must give your students time to discover grammar on their own. Make your students notice grammar by asking them questions about the language context you're showing. It takes time, but it's worth it. Finally, take into account that playing and practice with your students to reinforce is the best strategy to teach grammar. Don't be afraid to use it. There are plenty of sources you can use. Just give them a try.